Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday morning trading room. I hope you had a most enjoyable holiday week. It was very relaxing on my end, I have to say. I got very little done. All right. Well, if you did brave the markets on Friday, you can see there was a little bit of a rally day. But so far, we're still kind of moving a little bit flat. The market still seems to be topping somewhat. And hopefully we're going to see a little bit of volatility come back into the market. It's been pretty quiet lately. It's difficult to trade when the markets are so quiet, but we'll just have to wait them out. Here on the Hawk, it looks like we're going to produce or did produce a 4-arrow consolidation here to the short side. We're into yellow bars now, so I'm really not that interested. The Falcon, a little bit neutral, the filter breaking up quite a bit here. The Eagle, coming off of the hard edge, we've got the beginnings of a red bar buy. Whenever the market encounters the hard edge, we always look for some sort of reaction. And then here in the Raptor, we've also got that hard edge that we're dealing with, but also very, very flat right now. So we're just going to hang out for a little bit. See if we get any kind of direction out of the market. So far, anyways, it looks as though the sellers have control, at least for the short term. And by that I mean maybe the next 5 or 10 minutes. But we'll just stay with it here for a little bit. Well, it certainly is a quiet start to the day. For a Monday after a holiday, I thought for sure we were going to see a little bit more volatility come into the marketplace. Okay, we've got a quick trend change here on the Falcon. I'm not going to call this a rule of 3 on the Eagle because we haven't had a real test of the extreme. We're getting a first micro-macro cross lower on the Hawk. I might give that a go, just there's not really anything going on here. What you could do is even bracket the market like so. And it looks like I waited a little bit too long on that trade. I probably would have set it up something like this. I don't think I would have gone in for the full amount here, the full 3 contracts, even though at the moment it looks like, well, it kissed the profit target anyways. looks like we're just going to be waiting here for a little while. Excuse me. Well, I'm wondering, we're getting this sideways channeling going on. We've certainly got a bearish bias, no question about that. Still looking for some follow through. Okay, here we're working a possible late filter entry on the Falcon. So the filter out of sync, trend line still in sync. The signal hasn't formed yet. So it's just the beginning. No, they're not following through. All right, well, looks like the buyers are going to take their turn here. Thank goodness Paul came through with a question here. Way to go, Paul. Questions are nice when the market is this dead, this sideways. Paul's asking, what's the R in RMA stand for? The R is actually stands for Ray Burke. The RMA was developed by Ray Burke, so he got to put his name on it. All right, well, the seller's not following through. And here on the Eagle, we actually got a red bar buy signal off of the hard edge. That is a valid signal. And it also, I guess technically it's our first in-sync signal of the day. But given the context, just the dull nature of the market this morning, I'm not really sure I want to get long or short until I see a little bit more follow through one way or the other. First micro macro cross now to the upside on the hawk. That would be near the top end of this little itty bitty trading range that we're looking at. The falcon working a possible trend change signal. And the raptor is going to come back with a cloud crossover or a hard edge bounce, however you want to read this one, if the market rallies from here. All right, well, why don't we get ready for the raptor signal. The first micro macro cross printing now. This is, I'm going to show it to you, but it's not a signal that I'm really all that excited about right now. I'll just show it to you for something to do. But if you're looking for a good signal, I don't know, this one doesn't really give me a warm fuzzy feeling. All right, so I'm going to anticipate that's where the signal's going to print. So I've got the warning dot. The clouds have crossed to the short side. Once they cross back, that will produce a number one signal. That's the cloud crossover signal. What I'm looking for ideally is a retest of the high. The raptor is also going to give me a trend change signal if prices continue higher, that is. I can't account for the sideways nature of the market. Other than, you know, maybe we're getting a little top heavy for the longer term. If we take a look at the daily chart, or any long-term chart, this can be hourly, daily, weekly, whatever. The market, the NASDAQ here is taken off like a shot. There's no denying we're in an uptrend, but note the range is getting a little bit smaller. Each push not quite as strong as the one before. Now, mind you, I've been looking for a serious reversal since summer. We got a little itty-bitty reversal, but the NASDAQ, as with the rest of the stock market, not interested in heading any lower. Okay, I'm going to have to adjust my trade here slightly to take into account the new parameters. So we've got the warning dot. Here's the warning dot. With my handy dandy logic counter, I know where the bar will finish if it continues higher, and that, of course, is where it will print the signal. If, in fact, we're looking at a rally. All right, I'm going to anticipate that signal now. Throw my order in. Oh, didn't get it. Oh, stinkers, they got me just to tag me a little bit too soon. I was trying to cancel that order and get in there for the next bar. So this is rare, but as you can see, it can happen that you can print a series of warning dots before the signal parameters are met. Again, this is something that's going to happen in a slower market. Right now, it looks like I'm going to get that signal. There's the signal. So I'll stay with the trade for now. Technically, it hasn't engaged the signal yet. Get up there. Here we go. Now we've got the number one, the cloud crossover signal. And just looking now for a little bit of follow through as we get here to test the overnight highs. This is actually pretty good advice from Mark, and I wholeheartedly agree. Mark says, I'm just sitting on my hands at the moment trying to get my bearings after being off for a week. I always play it safe and study things a bit before jumping on anything after a vacation break, but that's just me. One of the pressures, if you will, of moderating a trading room and publishing a trading newsletter is that people always expect you to do something, right? Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do right now. It's like, what is that prayer? Lord, grant me patience, but make it quick. People aren't used to sitting around. I think that fear of missing out is a huge force in the market and propels a lot of people very often into making poor decisions when the best decision is just to stand aside flat. Being flat in the market is a position, by the way. Yeah, like Mark says, especially when long-time highs are looming. All right, I hit the break-even trigger, so let's get this trade up to break-even now. We'll hold it there for a moment. Getting a little hiccup here as we approach the primary resistance line. Now, if you entered here at the hash mark, we're going to look for the market to move a couple ticks higher. You may choose to be a little bit more aggressive with your exit stops as if we can close above the primary resistance line. Once we close above there, we should be in good shape. Come on, get up there. Oh, come on. They're not going to hang just a couple of ticks short of my profit target. Get up there. Nuts. Gonna get tagged. Hey, way to go, Keith. Nicely done. Keith says $360 off one trade and I'm done for the day. Well done, Keith. Good job. Yeah, you can sneak a couple $300 out of a market like today. You have done well. It's a little bit of a nail biter, of course. That first micro macro cross followed through. The Falcon trend change signal and the cloud crossover kind of coinciding. And of course, here we've got that red bar buy, the hard edge bounce on the eagle. So the chart's at least in sync. This may be turning out to be a bigger test of the extreme. We're getting a little bit of a bull push, but I think my stops are going to be a little bit too handy. Yep. Oh well. It was a good try, but no follow through. Mark says it'll probably go up and retest the high now. Yep, probably. I'm thinking we might get a little bit more of a pullback first, just to, it's going to encourage a few sellers, right? This kind of level that we're at, it's going to look like a nice retest of the high. It's going to encourage some selling. So we may see the market come down here a couple of ticks. After which the buyers are going to get their turn, and then we'll see which way the market is really prepared to go. Right now, we've just got a bit of a mess going on. Well, we've got a macro pullback here. We are very mixed in the signals. You can see not a lot of follow through. You need to be careful when the market is producing a lot of signals and not much follow through. Note here, even though there was some follow through, we got signal, 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 signal. Here we get signal, 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 signal. And now again to the upside. I think we're going to see a little bit of an upward drift. So we do have a 4-arrow consolidation slash macro pullback. And if you consider, you know, this was the trading zone, this now is the retest after the breakout. But as far as looking for good opportunities, I don't know if that's going to meet the criteria for a really good trading opportunity. Well, this is probably a good time to go get a drink. No, won't be won't be that kind of drink. It's a little early. Okay, there we're getting a little bit of a push up. And that was relatively short-lived. Okay, excuse me just for a couple minutes. I will be right back. What did I miss? Oh dear, not a whole heck of a lot. Well, I think we're going to be sitting here waiting for a little while until we get something tradable again. Oh well, we'll just have to wait them out. Yeah, we got a little bit of an upward drift. I think there might have been enough in that 4-arrow consolidation to get to the profit target. Yes, it did. So a couple of scalp opportunities this morning, but really not much more. I don't know, are we waiting on a report or anything? Guess we can check the reports calendar. Okay, let's see. So reports wise, nothing. We got nothing going on the reports today. And let's see, maybe they're waiting on something tomorrow. And, well, consumer confidence, but I don't know, that's not a real deal breaker. All right, a little bit of a upward drift for a couple of ticks anyhow. I'm curious, did the first in-sync signal get up to its target? Oh, look at that, it did too. Wow. If I only had more nerve. There was a nice little signal first thing this morning, but not an easy day so far. Yeah, well done, Mark. Mark says, I jumped on that 4-arrow consolidation, took 200 on 4 cars. Not a huge amount to follow through this morning. Glad to have taken what I got. And I think that's kind of the theme today. If you have anything in an open profit, then you probably should be looking at getting it, banking it. Yeah, Richard writes the big traders must still be in a turkey coma. I think you're right. There's nobody here. Okay, we're drifting a little bit higher here. Gold market is, I'm also watching gold and the euro dollar, both of which are relatively flat. Gold not doing anything, and the euro kind of trying to head a little lower. Mark writes the big traders are probably being conservative and waiting to see how the U.S. budget and tax cut vote plays out, just speculating. Things might pick up after the vote. Yeah, you could be right. I think a lot of traders are kind of sitting, well, I think it's pretty obvious a lot of traders are sitting on their hands right now. We're trying to get a little bit more bullish, and you know, at these levels, I always get a little bit leery buying into new highs, but here we are. Slow grind.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Hey, folks. Hang on one second here. Let me get the old attendee thing here so I can actually see who's in.
I'm glad you popped by because it'll give us something to do.
I'll try out all my new jokes and everybody. All right, so hang on one second. Let me. You have to forgive me. I'm a little rusty on this stuff. Let me get the Windows thing open because if I remember, this is a one-way conversation. There we go. All right. Hello, Scott. Mark. So I thought we'd couple things. So, one, you guys haven't heard from me forever, so yes, I'm still around, and no, I'm not sitting at home eating bonbons. So I wanted to just fill you in on what I've been doing behind the scenes, and then also, I know it's been a while since I've just checked in, so maybe in the famous words of Big Mike, we can have an Ask Me Anything session. So but before I do that, let me just kind of proactively or preemptively tell you where I'm assuming most of you are going to be bombarding me with is, where's NinjaTrader 8? Am I correct in that's top of the list for everybody? Just type a Y or an N. I'd rather see an N, but I'm assuming it's a Y. Good for you, Scott. Yeah, you know what? When I see these N's, that's how I know that you're legit. And it's amazing. People think that a new trading platform is going to make trading any easier, and it it doesn't, right? It doesn't really matter what the platform underneath it all is. It comes down to your skills. But anyway, just so you know what's going on and why we've been treading water for so long. Uh, I guess I should say if you repeat this, I'll deny it, but I won't. So NinjaTrader 8 has just been a nightmare from a third-party add-on perspective. And you talk to any vendor, not just us. The best description I can give you for coding for NinjaTrader 8 is like trying to nail Jello. And so, so case in point, I was all excited today to announce that the Trade Manager for NinjaTrader 8 was finally ready. It's only 11 months behind schedule. And I get the text this morning that there was just a release, I guess, of NinjaTrader dot whatever 10, and it broke the code again. So it's so frustrating. So that's what's holding us up. I don't know how much you all know about NinjaTrader 8, but the biggest change in the platform was the graphic engine or the graphics in the platform itself. So any of us who designed high-end graphical products like Trade Manager had to rewrite it from scratch. And I can just tell you the programmers were not happy with me about it because, as you know, our policy is we don't charge for upgrades. And so they're doing a lot of work in their minds for free, but that's my business policy and I'm sticking to it. I think going forward, my policy will be upgrades to the product itself. However, if the platforms changes, then we're going to have to add some kind of fee to it because, these guys have been putting in hours of coding time, with no compensation. But it is what it is. And I've told them, bite the bullet. This is our policy. We're sticking to it. But that's what's going on. And so once it's out, I'll let you know ASAP, for those of you that are chomping at the bit. For those of you who know better, even when our stuff's ready, it's not going to stop the instability of 8. Sadly, 8 is still unstable for a multitude of reasons. So I'm probably protesting too much. I also just had a giant cup of coffee, so forgive me if I'm rambling. Any other questions for me? But before I tell you about, I have a kind of request for y'all, but I want to just see if there's anything you want to ask me while you're in here. I know one other topic that I'm going to bring up, but anything y'all want to know?
Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yes, actually. So thank you for asking. I don't know if y'all know this, but I was based in Houston, Texas. And our house got wiped out in the recent floods, so now I'm living in a small town about an hour and a half away called College Station. If you know college sports, it's home of Texas A&M. So that's been an incredible exercise and go with the flow. But hopefully, as customers, you didn't feel the bump at all. We just kept going. And so, yeah, Scott, yes. That's a little private conversation. Yes, absolutely. Ping me and we'll talk offline about that. What else did I want to say? Shoot, I just lost it. Hang on. Oh, yeah. So there's been a little bit of confusion about DTS, what I'm going to call DTS Classic, which is the 3 birds, and then Raptor, because most of our marketing efforts have been around Raptor lately, and I think some people have been concerned that DTS Classic is going away or we don't sell it anymore, and that's just not true. And so let me explain to you what our current strategy is. All of this got just sidelined when NinjaTrader 8 came out. So The current strategy is, since Raptor is proving to be such a solid workhorse, right? That the DTS Classic birds, we're going to obviously continue to carry them, but the idea is to update them now as what I would call system add-ons. So Raptor will be the primary trading vehicle. However, if you tend to lean towards scalping, trending, or range trading, or all three, then the way that Eric uses it, which is that there's all these three systems running at the same time, we're not going to stop doing that. The game plan is still to code the 1, 2, 3, or the most popular setups, shall we say, for each of those birds. But I don't have a date on that because, like I said, everything got sidelined for NinjaTrader 8. And I still am a firm believer, in the power of DTS. I always liken I liken the three birds to the folks that were audiophiles. Back in the 80s, they had the component stereo system. I don't know if you all are old enough to remember that, but you had a component for every piece to have the perfect sound. That's DTS Classic.
And a 5-foot speaker.
Right, giant quadraphonic speakers, and Raptor to me is the boombox, the mini stereo that came out later, which quite frankly is what the masses wanted, and it appealed to the masses. It's just it doesn't go to that highest level of the perfect frequency, if you will, that DTS Classic does, and so to me they serve different markets, different purposes. They're complementary to each other. I don't foresee them ever going away. So, God, I hope I didn't hope that confuse the situation. But anyway, that's what's going on there. Let me just see if there's any other questions. Any DTS looming signal? We just talked about that. Peter, there's no reason to pay a fee for the upgrade because it won't make it happen any faster. Trust me, everything imaginable short of sacrificing a sheep I've done to try and speed this up, and it's just I'm at the mercy of technology, and it is what it is. I promise you, whatever frustration you're feeling, just multiply it by tenfold, and that's me. Okay, Floyd, interesting question. What about converting other indicators to NT8? So most of them should be, literally, let's just say 90% of them. If you come across one that is not, then email me. And because at this point, the way we're doing it is, it's kind of like if there's demand, then we'll keep doing it because, if there's an indicator that's just not that popular anymore, why convert it to 8? That's not the best use of our resources. So you're referencing the overbought, oversold suite, which is an awesome one. I didn't know it wasn't. I haven't checked our inventory lately. If it's not there for 8, let me know, and I'll talk to the programmers to get that done. Yeah. I got my hardcore DTSers in here. I love it. Anyway, so let me tell you about. I just want your feedback. By the way, I realize I'm interrupting trading time. So Eric, if at any point in time there's a development, just stop me. Right, and
Yeah, not much danger of that. Not today.
I figured right after the holidays and whatever it wouldn't be, but again, I'm not the reason everyone's in the room. So I'm working on not working on it. I'm about to have a product ready for beta, and it's a project that I've been I've literally been looking at it since 2012, and just haven't had time to build it. But I think it's, well, maybe I'm biased. I think it's the most innovative thing to hit the trading market really in years. And yeah, let me think best way for this. Okay, so here's what it is. One of the number one issues I hear when I talk with traders, whether they're new traders or even intermediate traders, is the transition from paper trading or sim to live. And I hear this often, like I'm doing great in sim, the minute I go to live, I blow myself up. And so what I want to know from the folks in the room is, one, how many are live? So how about that? If you'll type an L when I say live, I mean trading with real money. And then how many are S for sim? And if you agree with that statement, was there a psychological obstacle to overcome in going from sim to live? Boy, I love it. Everyone, just so you know, you guys in the room, everyone who's live, you're so in the minority. So it's such a pleasure to see that the customers that are here all the time are trading live and getting value from it. That's so cool. Because you'd be amazed, but the majority of the NinjaTrader user base are sim traders. They're like perpetual mousetrap builders. They're just tinkerers. It's a small community that's actually trading day trading futures with real money. And so count yourselves. It's really cool to see this. Count yourselves in a small elite group, quite frankly.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he says facetiously. I'll just give you all a little side note for those of you who've been around with us a long time. When we first came out with Trade Manager, literally version 1, different programmer. We've been through a few programmers along the way. When it first came out, it had a bug that when it closed out a position, it would then automatically reverse and add 20 contracts. Now, that bug should have put us out of business with lawsuits, if you think about it, right? And when it happened, one individual lost money, and we compensated him immediately. Everyone else had been sim trading, so it wasn't as big a deal, and obviously we covered the bug, and that never happened again. But that's what really showed me that, okay, there's a lot of sim traders out there. Well, then you're not the best audience, so forget it. Bye. No, I'm just joking. So what I designed is a product called Transition Trader, and what it does is it logs in to the sim account and your live account at the same time. It has access to both. And there's an expert setting ranging from novice to expert, and it's a ratio setting. And so what it does is, let's just say you take 10 trades. At the novice setting, 9 out of 10 of those trades are going to be sim, 1 will be live, but the end user doesn't know which one it is. And so the idea is to create an environment in which the end user feels as if they're trading live, but they don't blow themselves up along the way while they get used to the emotion of trading live money. And so the product's called Transition Trader, and it sits in the background and just controls the ratio of live to sim. Obviously, as you start to move up, you change the setting to intermediate all the way to advanced, and advanced basically 9 out of 10 are live and 1 is sim until you don't need it anymore. So it's a transition tool. It's not something that I see people using forever. It's kind of like a halfway house for traders, right? And so I'm just wondering if you all saw any value in it. I was kind of hoping I would have some sim to live traders in here to beta test it, but it looks like y'all are ahead of the game. So good for us for doing our jobs correctly. That said, though, if you're in any trading communities or networks or whatever it may be, I would love to find individuals who are on the cusp of going sim to live, or have had trouble with that transition and have had to jump back to sim. I hear that a lot. Just email me at adam@indicatorwarehouse.com, and I would love to get a beta group together to test out this concept. So that's the biggies, right? NinjaTrader 8. Yeah, so let me go back to the Raptor versus DTS. I know there's, like I said, been some confusion. If y'all own one or the other, like you own Raptor but you don't own the rest of the birds, or if you own the birds but you don't own Raptor, you can always come to me, as you know by now. When you're a customer of Indicator Warehouse, once you're on the inside, if you will, you get all kinds of perks, particularly when it comes to pricing. So if you want to round out your investment in the full DTS solution, especially now with this Cyber Monday thing going on, till the end of the week, let me know, and you know, I'll put together a package for you. Let's see, what else?
That's where everybody is. They're online shopping.
Yeah. Could it turn out? Hang on one second here. Mark J, one live and consistent is no substitute. It took me some. Yeah. So old Mark's the tested. You know, I've heard all kinds of things about Mark in recent conversations from a variety of people, and
most of them good.
yeah, no, they're all good. It's just that Mark's humble. Mark, you know, I'm going to use you actually. I'm going to pick on you a little bit. How many hours of testing do you think you've put in order to get to where you are today? Our tools or others? I mean, I'm not, you know, we don't have a monopoly. I'm interested. You got to answer. Thousands. He writes thousands, months. Okay, and so I know there's been a little scuttlebutt, you know, Mark's doing well, and what is he using, and what's this MACD, Bollinger Band, super secret, whatever, and here's my take on that, and Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong. At the end of the day, everything we're talking about here are tools, right? They're saws, hammers, chisels, they're tools. And any carpenter will tell you they've got their favorite set of tools that they wear on the tool belt every day, and then they got a backup set in their truck for that one-off occasion when they need that one special little whatever it may be, okay? That favorite set of tools didn't just, you know, they didn't read a book and you know, put on their tool belt and they're on their way. That came from trial and error. I like this one, I don't like this one, I tried this for a while, I came back to it. That's the nature of learning, and you know, there's no vendor out there, including us, who can sell that, right? It's a skill, and you know, I know it's frustrating, and I know there's a ton of vendors out there who make day trading just sound like, you know, buy this software and it builds the cabinet for you, and it's just, you know, we've never hidden that. It's just not true. You know, I've always felt that our job is to make the best tools possible so that if you've got what it takes to be a trader, which means the time to put in and the perseverance, you know, what is it, Malcolm, what's his name, 10,000 hours, then you deserve good tools and good training. But the hard work, the tools will never do it for you, right? The word processor will never write the novel for you, as much as, unfortunately, some of my colleagues tell you it does. And so, you know, I sometimes feel bad that I'm the emperor, you know, telling the emperor he's not wearing clothes, but I'll just say this. Think of any skill, and that means like an athlete, a professional athlete, or a professional surgeon, whatever it may be, and ask them how many years it took to get to their level of expertise and how much money they spent getting to that level of expertise, right? We hear all about these med students that are graduating with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt under their belt. And so, I've had the frustration come at me before, like, well, you know, how come Mark's doing so well? You know, Mark put in the time, man. I mean, he sat there and made his 3,000 free throws every day so that when he was in the game, his muscle memory took over. And so anyways, that's, you know, that's my soapbox.
So you mean I shouldn't invest in the correspondence course on brain surgery?
Well, I mean, please, I hope I don't come across as like mightier than, you know, whatever, arrogant. I don't. You know, man, trust me, there's no one in here that's obsessive as I am. And Eric can attest to that. Remember, I was one of Eric's students, and part of the reason I've been so successful with this business is I really, everything about Indicator Warehouse is a reaction to what I wish I'd had when I was trying to do this. And, you know, I don't know if you all know my story, but, you know, I gained 100 pounds and almost got divorced by the time I had to step back from you know, the profession. So I get it, right? And it doesn't help that there's a lot of snake oil out there telling you just how easy it is. So I guess what I'm saying is my hat's off to y'all. I mean, seeing that y'all are live and putting in the time to master the tools, I have tremendous respect for that. and that's very it's very inspiring for me to keep going forward and make sure that we maintain the level of quality that you all deserve. So anyway, I got a little misty-eyed there for a moment. Anything else? Right before I when I was interesting. What Mark said he was a tool and die maker. I don't really know what that is. Sounds like somebody who makes really expensive tools.
Yeah, it's you have to have a lot of precision when you're a machinist.
Oh, machinist! I got it.
I'll tell my machinist joke afterwards.
So Mark says he put in 10,500 hours of apprenticeship. You know, it's interesting, Mark. There's many paradigms or kind of structures that I thought about when I was putting this company together, and I don't know how we ended up with birds of prey, but that's where we ended up. But there was a time when I really thought about going down the Mason route, you know, and having people go through apprenticeship, and then I forgot the next one, right? And you end up being a master something at the end, because I think that's actually more akin to what we're doing here than probably most metaphors, right? The time you have to put in before you become a master or whatever. Excuse me. Anyway, okay, I don't want to monopolize y'all's time. So that's really the latest and greatest. Again, you know, I know you don't hear from me that much, but I love talking to our customers because, you know, otherwise I get kind of bored. So you're always welcome to call me. I think y'all have my direct line by now, but if you don't, you can write it down, 713-893-8556. So you're welcome to call me. Or email me at adam@indicatorwarehouse.com. I'm on the phone a lot, so if you email me, I'm going to get back to you quicker. But that's the lowdown. Once NinjaTrader 8 is finally out and done, we'll get back on our roadmap track, and you know, full steam ahead kind of thing. I know what else. It's interesting. A couple of other vendors in the space have reached out to me and asked, you know, if I would be interested in having you guys see their wares. And, you know, we don't have a monopoly on quality software out there. There's a few other vendors that I've come to actually become friends with over the years, because there's only a few of us that are running real companies in the business. And so I was thinking about putting together some webinars for you to see some of the other tools that are out in the market. You know, basically what I told them was my only qualifier is it has to complement what we're doing here. There's no way I'm ever going to recommend throwing out the baby with the bathwater. But, you know, as Eric said, if there's something that helps you make a decision faster, well, then it's a good indicator. If it doesn't, then it's a bad indicator. So just keep a lookout for that. You know, I'll send some emails out around that.
That's kind of cool, actually, Adam.
Yeah, there's a couple, you know, I've been around now long enough. There's a couple of tools that I've seen where I'm like, okay, that's actually quite innovative, and I think it could help. In particular, there's a couple of areas that I just keep hearing over and over again. One is, once I'm in a trade, how do I notice how long to stay in it? You know, we've tried, the Geiger counter was designed to help with that, but yeah. I know that's an ongoing issue. It will be forever. And then, of course, chop. You know, how can I know if I'm getting into chop, or once I'm in chop, what do I do? And, you know, I know we have our techniques, but that's an ongoing challenge, you know, and so those are the two that I think are just, it doesn't matter what your solution is, there's just always going to be a challenge. So, you know, actually, that said, guys, if there's something else that you feel's, I don't know, lacking, or, you know, would help you, some tool that would help you do something better, always send it to me, right? And, you know, it may go to the roadmap for something that we design, or if I've got a partner colleague that I respect, you know, I can bring them in and we can talk about it. So, you know, let me know. I'm open to that kind of stuff. All right, that's it. So it's great to hear from you guys. Thanks, Mark, and have a great holiday season. I'm sure I'll check in with you before the end of the year, but let me know if I can be of any further assistance. All right? All right. Talk to y'all later.
Go have another cup of coffee.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Well, thank goodness Adam stopped by because there is nothing going on here this morning. We'll hang with the markets for a little bit, at least till the top of the hour, but really I think the day is pretty much a scratch. There's very little commitment higher or lower right now. We are getting a first micro-macro cross signal here in the hawk, and that may offer another scalp opportunity. We are, as you can see, just hovering below the overnight highs where the market did flinch a little bit earlier. Oh, and we're getting a late filter entry signal here in the Falcon as well. So a couple of bullish signals right now. We'll see whether we get any kind of follow through from this. Stops have to be relatively deep, I'm afraid. So even on this first micro-macro cross, which is going to print right there, you could count that as swing one. That would be swing two. Given the condition of the markets today, I don't think I would go in for the full amount for the full two contracts. Maybe risk a single. Try to run it out. But again, this is not really a good-looking trade today. The market's all over the map. And now it looks like we may actually get a little bit more of a pullback before the next attempted rally. The hawk into yellow bars, so we can cancel that. And there we are again. So what I think we're going to see happen is I think we're going to see another hard edge bounce. I think, well, the Raptor may actually produce a counter trend signal here now that we've had something resembling the test of the extreme, both short term and longer term. We may produce a shorting signal. That's the number 2 signal, which could get us back here to the hard edge. It's just a total lack of commitment here. What do you say we button up shop a little bit early here this morning? Honestly, I doubt we're going to miss anything today. If you are going to try to hang out the rest of the morning or even the afternoon session, look for something resembling a hard edge bounce. The buyers are pressing, and I think we're going to finish the day on a slightly bullish note, but it is going to exercise your patience today. All right, gang. Let's try it again tomorrow. Hopefully the markets will loosen up a little bit. Talk to you then. Bye for now.